Thank you for coming. The last time we did this was pre-COVID. So we wanted to, is this a worthwhile thing for the city to do?
All right, so raise your hand if you like the Senate better than the House.
I have a question.
Yep.
When I was a kid and I had the tour, we got to go to the horses. See the horses. Is that not a thing anymore?
Still a thing. It's
Still
called
a
the
thing.
Quadriga. It's just too cold today, but yeah, you can. Those same tour guides will take you up on the roof, and you can walk around the golden horses and see the whole city and so forth.
It's just kind of limited in the winter.
They started in April, or?
That's a good question. He was telling
Yeah.
us that they were up there last week with
Yeah.
the good weather, so it must just be dependent on
Oh, 50 Monday. Well, I'm just saying.
And when you're up there with the horses and you look straight south, it lines right up with Smith Avenue. I mean, and in the fall when the leaves are turning, it's just a gorgeous view because like when you drive down Smith Avenue to the High Bridge, you can see the Capitol clearly. When you're at the top of the Capitol and you look south, you can see Smith Avenue line right up. Yep.
Where can you find what bills are being introduced?
The question was, where can you find what bills are being introduced? You can go online to either the House or the Senate. It's house.mn.gov.
Yeah, I just Googled Minnesota legislature and it comes up.
And you go into House and there'll be a little hourglass and it'll say, look for bills. And you can put in, if you know a specific bill, you can put in like House File 109 and it will pull that up. If bills are introduced when we are in the floor. So like Monday, there will be a whole nother set of bills that are introduced in the House and the Senate. And so you can see bills introduced, it'll say like calendar for the day, bill introductions, and then when we're debating, if there's a bill and there are amendments, you can see the amendments in the House because we require a 24-hour notice once the rules are adopted, where you can look at the amendments and see, well, here's the amendments that are coming up. So you can see that as anywhere around the world, you can look that up and see that. In the Senate,
Yeah, so the bill search site that we were talking about is pretty actually easy to use. You can filter by, Rick Hansen's bills, Matt Klein's bills if you want to see what your legislators are doing. You can filter it by keyword. If you're saying I'm interested in what they're doing with clean water, you can filter by that, or what committee it's in. So there's a lot of different ways to sort of find out what you're interested in that's going on with your legislation.
so you can see, like if Matt puts in a bill for South St. Paul, it'll have a Senate file, an SF file, and you'll see a House file for that as well. Now, maybe his gets introduced the day before mine, so that may say not introduced, but those two House and Senate files are there. I have 4 bills being heard, so before they get to the floor, they have to go through committee. So I have 4 bills being heard next week. And again, the Republicans are in control right now, but I'm still getting 4 bills heard. The first one on Monday is we have fellow constituents in Inver Grove Heights whose daughter died of suicide on the Washington Avenue Bridge. And so we're trying to get gating on the bridge to prevent that from happening again. That'll be on Monday in transportation. On Tuesday, I have a bill for South St. Paul for water infrastructure, and 2 bills for Newport for their water infrastructure, for their sewer issues. Matt, this time what you got?
Yeah, I'm on the Commerce Committee. We have a number of initiatives in commerce surrounding, everyone wants an alcohol license for their local municipality or for a festival that they're having. We also have jurisdiction over the new cannabis management department in the state of Minnesota, so we have a lot of sort of cannabis related bills that we hear. Yeah, that's kind of what we're doing this.
So like the social district for alcohol, that would be something like maybe on the road again days where you could get the city could get a license where you could walk around with a beer. Yeah.
So how exactly does it work though, as far as bills? Like, is something that's presented to you, do you go through it? Do you have it goes through, you had said the process before it's even introduced to the floor? How does a bill come in?
How does a bill become a law? So there are nonpartisan staff, there are lawyers that are skilled in drafting the bill. So they do the actual drafting of the bill.
You give that basically to them and say.
We give them an
Make it
idea and say, now like for the city ones, like the city of South St. Paul ones, they may say, we ask for, what's your cost for that water infrastructure? And they say $3.1 million. And then we have the nonpartisan reviser talk with the city staff on the details to get that drafted. So we have that information. And then I asked the city to pass a resolution. So the city would pass a resolution in support of that. So it shows that the city council has supported that. It's not just my idea
Right, no,
for the
it's
city,
not, right.
but the city supports it. And then that gives the city staff the ability to come up and speak on behalf on the details. So like on Tuesday, Ryan Garcia will come up, the city manager, and he will speak about the water infrastructure. He and I have been working on a fact sheet that we will distribute in the committee, and will be posted on the committee site explaining the costs, and that's what happens in the Senate.
Yeah, and some bills, in full transparency, come from organized groups that have done a lot of background work. So for example, the teachers union, Education Minnesota, might say, we have some ideas for how to manage our health insurance. We've workshopped it, we've worked with lawyers, we've developed a bill, here it is, would you be interested in authoring it for us?
What if you're not?
Yeah, then you say no.
So
So,
you just say, and that's it.
yeah, find another author, or the Chamber of Commerce might say, we have concerns about paid family medical leave, would you consider signing on to this bill that we've had drafted? So that's where the other source of bills comes from.
And then we hear from people when we're door knocking, so I'll give you an
Right.
example. I was at Black Sheep Coffee a few years ago, pre-COVID. I had people say they could not get a duplicate social security card online. And every other state was able to do that, but we prohibited it. So you had to go to the social security office in, where's Bonnie? Did you do that? Was that Bonnie I talked to? But somebody I talked to that said we have to be able to get that. So it took 2 years, but I had the bill introduced to allow to have a virtual license. You can order it online rather than having to go to the
So you
Minneapolis.
put that through, that just
I put
keeps
that through.
circulating.
It took me a long time to get it passed, but it did pass. And so that's an example of what we would call a constituent bill. That we run into constituents and say, hey, have you thought of this? Or I've been having trouble with that. And we put in a bill and it comes up organically. So there are bills for our communities that are coming, often capital projects or tax projects. And then we have constituent bills where somebody says, hey, have you thought of this? And then like Matt said, we have groups that are coming that say, well, we need this, or we don't want that, or we want that changed. So right now, there's about 1,700 bills introduced in the House, maybe?
More than that, I believe.
So I didn't count on Thursday, probably 2,000 bills, and they're on a variety of things. Very few of those have become law. I'll give you one example for our area, and I know we got 1 minute, Deb. Deb is keeping me on
She's got her
track.
jacket on.
She got the jacket, you probably want to put your jackets on, but we all pay a fee on our solid waste that goes into a landfill trust account to pay for cleaning up the landfills because eventually all landfills leak. In 2004 and 2003, when we were in a budget deficit, those funds, that trust fund was raided. It took until 2023, almost 20 years, to pay that back. So when somebody says, what happened to the 18 billion? 26 million I paid back the deficit on that trust fund into that landfill. It took 10 years putting in bills to get that done. So it's not easy to change law. It's not easy to find money. It's going to be a lot harder. Just finally, we get a forecast next week that'll tell us our budget numbers to put together the budget. So once that starts, you will have a race of trying to put together the bills, to put together the budget, which is what we have to do. Our fiscal year ends on June 30th. So that's our work. Feel free to contact us. We work for you. Hopefully we can do this again. And I want to thank the staff. I want to thank Deb for all of the work. Thank you guys for participating, and particularly the young people. Remember, this place belongs to you. You can be here. Matt and I our jobs are temporary. You could have these someday. And work for your neighbors and your friends. and your family. This place belongs to you. You should always feel comfortable coming back here. It belongs to you. So, Deb, next stop.
Thanks for coming on, you guys.
The ethnic studies. Right?
Oh, I'm sorry. I leaned over and I tied my shoe off. Thank you for looking.